my God, hot off the press. I just finished reading this and I feel like my camera's fuzzy, but maybe it's just the lighting in here and that's all good. Okay, so as you know, I'm doing the gene keys one by one to digest it, to have the time to really consider it and read every word and not just kind of glaze over them. It takes like a certain time and a place, but I'm on gene key number 4 today. And gene key number 4 is like blowing my mind. All right. So the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd, this really in-depth look at what is happening within us, within our psyche, within our lives, within our minds. And body, the world within, the world without, it's just, it's all that stuff. And the gift is understanding. The shadow is intolerance. We've seen enough of that in our lifetime, haven't we? And the siddhi is forgiveness. And these words, just naming words, just don't do it justice. So this is the folly of youth, kind of describing this idea that there's folly in logic, because nobody really truly has the ability to logic like we all think we do. So we're all kind of trying to come up with these answers in life and see the logic and solve the logic and see the patterns and solve things and come up with this knowledge or this quest for knowledge. And the siddhi literally says transcend that. There is no more need for knowledge. There just is this need to be and this need to forgive. So when we see that there's distortion in everything, and we see how we create this collective consciousness, or this, we have this subjective consciousness as a collective, you see the folly in it. And so to surrender, and I don't think I underlined enough stuff in this chapter, but mental assuredness cannot make the body feel safe. The body can only feel safe when it surrenders to the moment without wanting something else. And that is through and through purely living in the moment, and the moment is all you have. Oh, this gives me chills. So if you're in the repressive nature of this gene key, you're apathetic. So you're actually intelligent, but you don't seem intelligent because you're not really applying any knowledge towards anything. You're just literally kind of ducking out and saying, world, can you take care of me? I have too many problems and I just can't deal. And in the reactive nature, it's nitpicking. And if you're nitpicking, it's like you're always trying to logic through everything. And you're always going to prove yourself right because you're so nitpicky that whatever you want to prove, you can prove. And that is the folly of logic, right? Confirmation bias comes to my head, and it just is, it's like this annoying concept that's just been annoying me for the last year because or two or whatever, because we all want to be right and we all have biases. So it's literally, this gene key is like, get over yourself, stop trying to prove yourself. You have an opinion, there's some truth in it, and just leave it at that. But we can't. So as a collective, we just can't. So, so the gift is understanding, and literally the gift is we, in essence, when we start to get into these concepts of love, literally pure love on this planet, and as we're evolving out of sickness, I've seen a lot of sickness, a lot of sadness. This is my world right now. I look around and I'm like, man, like take a breath. But there is so much sickness and so much sadness, and it is, it's heavy. So this understanding is kind of this paradoxical thing, because it's almost taking away this need for your brain to logic through everything and coming to a place of ease, knowing that you can't know everything and you don't have to know everything, but understanding that there are two sides, there are ways to use logic that are like effective. Logic can be effective, but very often we're just fooling ourselves. And it's like this, I really like how he words it. It's like this constant quest for knowledge And this constant quest for knowledge is just to bring yourself a sense of peace and ease, and saying like, when I finally understand, and when I finally know, and when I finally have this knowledge that I've been looking for, I'm going to feel really good. And that is a never-ending search. It will never end. So the only way you end it is to realize that you don't actually need to do that constantly, that you can understand that things are outside of your understanding, and then be like, okay, but like I can still breathe and walk and talk even though I don't understand. And the layers of fear that we live in, it's come down a lot to me of the fears that we have. So can you get past your fears and be in the moment? Can you get past your worries from the past? Can you get past the worrying about the future? Can you just live in the moment? And fear, it really drives a lot of human behavior, right? So, when you make the decision to let go of the need for understanding, or the very desperation of the mind to come to understanding through knowledge, constantly thwarts itself by looking at life from every conceivable angle. But wow, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, coming out of that need will take you out of the dissatisfaction that you're experiencing. And of course, this is another one of my keys, so it just makes sense, and it's making a lot of sense. Now, the city is forgiveness, and merciless forgiveness at that. And in this, he explains so much more than I'm going to explain here, but he explains this mutation, that as we mutate out of a need for knowledge, that we're going to come to this really strange place where like this key doesn't exist anymore. And anyway, this forgiveness, if we can have this, basically this understanding that we just can't know everything, then forgiveness really represents how we can evolve. Probably not going to delete this part, but I don't write down everything that I want to say. I just say it. And there's little lulls in the video because of it. Anyway, so in this energetic sense, as we forgive, we literally are going back and forgiving everything in our past. And then we have no need for forgiveness in the future, because when you understand forgiveness, it just happens in the moment, right? So we don't hold on to things. We don't brew in some place. We don't suffer, because we just forgive. And I just had so many thoughts while I was reading it. It's almost like I should just record myself while I'm reading it, because thoughts pop up literally constantly while I'm reading this. And they're just so profound and so cool and so wonderful and such a magical place to be. Because he talks about karmic debt, and just this like magical nature of this gift is that when it happens, you're free. So when you actually understand how to forgive, then you're not logically thinking through it. It frees you. It frees you from the experience of your past, and it opens up all the possibilities of the future. And I don't know if you're on this wavelength yet, but I think we're getting there, where anything is possible. And just because we haven't seen it or experienced it doesn't mean that it can't exist, right? So as we become forgiveness as a collective, as we start to forgive, we, in essence, like the weight is no longer on us. And what happens with weight, if weight is no longer a part of us, then we feel lighter, right? So weight is pressure. And as we depressurize ourselves, we become lighter, more expansive, less dense. So cool. All right, and this last sentence is: the ultimate goal of forgiveness is in fact to bring an end to the world of form itself. Anyway, you guys, this is amazing. If we can understand as a collective that forgiveness is just going to make our lives so much easier. You know, like, it's not in essence of not caring. I mean, I don't really know how that word caring plays into this, but just this essence of just allowing things to be imperfect. And in the allowing things to be imperfect, you literally create you create less importance around that. And as we reduce the importance of something, it becomes less of an issue. And anyway, I just could talk forever, like legitimately, I just talk forever. But do you ever say like, oh my gosh, I have to be really quiet right now, and then all of a sudden something will happen and you start coughing or choking or whatever, and you're like, no, oh, man, like, what am I doing? I have to be quiet here. And just like the opposite happens, because it's so important, right? Like, we're so self-conscious and such in a state of fear that it's like almost like when you try too hard, it doesn't work. Oh my gosh, I'm talking to myself. Like, I'm so excited to get through these on an in-depth kind of focused and chatting with you guys, because this is so cool. And I am personally ready for the world to understand just how good we have it and to stop fighting. So when he talks about it, he's like, well, what happens if nations stop, like if nations forgive each other and forgive their debt? What happens when we literally feel safe? We feel able to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and keep the warmth, This is, the possibilities in that are just, I assume if you're here watching this, that this is what you want too. I do. I just assume that you're like, you know what? I'm just ready for life to be less dramatic, less traumatic, less karma, less bad karma, less karmic debt. That I'm just ready to have this place of peace. Golly. Like, when I was going to church when I was little, I was like, oh yeah, heaven, great. Like, sounds fantastic. Just kill me now. Like, it makes no sense that we literally think like, I have to follow all the rules to get to heaven, or I can just believe. I mean, no offense to religion, but it's all over the place. And I honestly, I like religion in some ways. I like it in a lot of ways, to be honest, but there's just so many rules. Like, oh, if I go to this church, I follow these rules and that's how it is. And if I go to this church, I follow these rules and all is well. And, it just didn't make sense to me. But it's not church that I don't like. It's not religion that I don't like. It's maybe it makes sense to you, but it didn't make sense to me. It's all good. We're allowed to have a difference of opinion. I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm just really, really excited about what life can be when we start to understand that, like, this logic game is kind of this, like, it gives us this sense of I'm right, and I feel really good in that, and that makes me feel confident. And there is no need for you to be right over someone else. In fact, what's right for you at the moment is clearly not right for other people. And we know this, and we see this every single day, and we still are like, no, but I'm right. And it's like, I'm right. I'm making the decisions that make sense to me in my own life, and you don't have to agree with me in order for me to feel good about my decisions. You don't. I love it when other people agree. I love my people, but I just, this is my life and my journey. So yeah, you take this for what it's worth. Go read it. Go read it. Like, this is awesome stuff. Look up your human design. Look up your gene keys. Go to my body graph. Go to myhumandesign.com. Go. Like, these are some really, really cool things. Okay. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying reading and thinking about it and talking, as I always enjoy talking, you know. But please leave a comment. Comments, questions, remarks. If we want to have longer conversations, I'm up for it. This is my jam. This is what I love to do. And I want people to feel settled and happy and calm and, you know, like, get rid of your fear. Get rid of it. You don't need it. Right? Okay. Go. Have a great day.